Hello again, and welcome to Bloody Sunday.
It's Blondie now.
I
This is our Australian episode.
wish I could do an Australian accent.
I can't either.
I,
I'm not gonna pretend.
I could give it a shot, but it would immediately downgrade this podcast.
We have a level of quality we like to maintain for our three listeners.
Hi, Teddy.
Maybe we have four listeners.
Teddy does listen. He's like, I like you guys. I was like, thanks, bro. I
All right,
appreciate you.
excellent. We have at least four listeners.
Hey, you know what? That's better than some people. I'll take
Yeah.
it. Okay. So today we are going to be discussing what I would like to call a mega scoop or mega Sunday. That'd probably be a better term.
I think it's funny if it's just like the whole like carton of ice cream that we just flip over because it is pretty much one flavor.
We're gonna be going over the Final Destination franchise as a whole to include Bloodlines, the most recent entry into the world of Final Destination. Um, we're gonna do something a little bit different this time. We're gonna be doing what'd you call it?
An aggregate ranked list.
Aggregate rank list of our. Please explain.
So this sort of thing was inspired by a podcast I listened to called For Your Amusement,
Hmm.
and they do these lists sometimes where the two hosts make their ranked list of whatever that topic is, and then all of those things on the list are assigned a point value.
Hmm.
So for Final Destination, there are the six movies. So Dexter and I both made our own lists. They all got different point values. So like the movie that we ranked number one will get 6 points, and the movie that we ranked number six will get 1 point. So then we tally up the movies with their points from our respective lists to make a list that combines both of our lists and gives our aggregate list
Yes.
math. So we're going to be running this episode by going from the aggregate list and going from our six favorite up, uh, sort of tackling the series that way and unveiling it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we'll tell you our individual rankings and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Some additional stuff at the end. All right. So we're gonna start off at the very bottom of the list, bottom tier. Um, for people who are a connoisseur of the series, it's probably no surprise. Number six is found, or sorry, the Final
Yeah,
Destination.
not Final Destination 4, the Final Destination.
I love the
Um,
confidence that they had with that one. They were like, you know what? This is the definitive ending. Everybody's gonna love it. No problems whatsoever.
So this one is ranked six on our list. And if you'll recall from the explanation I just gave, when something is sixth on the list of our individual lists, it'll get a single point. So the Final Destination has a grand total of 2 points.
Even that feels a little too generous.
Yeah, we should we just scrap the points. It's zero. We make it a top five.
Just to be like,
Just to be dicks, we kick this one all the way to the curb. Um, but yeah, so the Final Destination. As always, we're gonna read the tagline listed on app and website of the year of the decade.
whoop, whoop.
Actually, Letterboxd.
Hell yeah.
The tagline for the Final Destination: "Rest in pieces."
Is that it?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here. Boo.
Okay, and and your star rating for that?
Fucking 0 out of 5. Fuck that. They didn't
Uh,
even try.
Following the letterbox system, I will give it half a star out of five. You can't rate something with zero on letterbox.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Half a star is the lowest you can go.
oh, fuck. I give it a quarter star.
Quarter star.
It's gotta get something. At least there are
I'll,
ones.
I'll I'll also give it a quarter star. It will be a collective half.
There we go. All right.
Excellent.
I'll take it.
Perfect. So a synopsis for this one. A horrifying premonition saves a young man and his friends from death during a racetrack accident, but terrible fates await them nonetheless. I think this is an excellent synopsis because it works for all of the films. If you take out a racetrack, it could be any accident. That's it. That's
If you
it.
replace race car with deadly accidents.
Like you're pretty set there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. uh,
You should.
I'll preface before we really get into our critiques
Mhm.
of the movie, and our goods and bads, that I pretty much have the same goods and the same bads for all of the movies. It's not a deep series.
Not even a little bit. I'm pretty much in the same boat. For me, as usual, I like pulling out like random little things from the movies that I appreciate more. I think that's just how I get through movies that I've seen more than a few times because I think I've seen all of these movies at least 5 times in my life, minimum. There could have been more or less, but roughly around the same. I think this series as a whole just suffers from its repetitive nature and its one trick pony style.
Yeah.
Um, are we going to be going straight into critiques? Because I'm fucking ready.
I have I have two goods for
Oh,
this movie.
okay.
Number one, I've only seen this movie once, and I watched it with Dexter,
Yes, it's
and
actually.
I and I think that that's really good.
I appreciate you, Charlie.
Spending time with a dear friend and only having to watch this movie once in my life, what a blessing.
Could you imagine when this movie came out, paying money for this shit? I'd be livid. I think I'd actually demand a refund.
Yeah, I saw a movie that was so bad the other day in theaters that I walked out.
Oh shit! What
Like
movie?
it, oh, well, that's a great question. It has a really stupid title that makes me constantly forget what it's called. Uh,
It's not Loft, right?
no, I watched Locked in full.
Okay.
Things like this,
What the fuck is that?
a gay rom-com.
Oh, okay.
It's really insufferable. We're
Ah,
not we're not here to talk. I'll give you the full dish on that later, because we're
okay.
not here to talk about how awful that is.
All right. That
I
sounds.
also think it'd be a waste of time. That one, the movie rating, I only gave it half a star.
Holy
It
shit.
was so bad.
Holy fuck.
Uh, PSA, if you're considering, don't go see it. Don't watch it on streaming. Don't. Yeah,
Man.
I gave the Final Destination a higher rating than that.
Wow, that's impressive. Holy
Yeah,
fuck. Okay. All right.
but yeah. My other good, just the two
Uh,
for the Final Destination is I like the opening title. I think that's fun. I think the way they did that was really cool.
Damn it. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one. That is
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, they really went out of their way with that creativity.
it
So
was like if someone saw the opening credits for Seven, I was like, we can do that, and they can't, but they really tried. Uh, and you know what? I'll give it to them. It was fun to watch.
okay. All right, I respect it. I
Yeah.
actually didn't get to write notes down for this one, but off the dome, I can't.
Try to name one positive
Okay, so
about this
I got
movie.
you. Actually, there is one thing that I did
Okay.
legitimately enjoy about Final Destination.
When it ended?
Uh, well, yes, that, but I will give it. Oh no, I'll give it two things actually. Yeah. So I like the second premonition, not the first one. The first one is pretty mid. I'm not gonna lie, the race car thing. I've been to a racetrack. Me and my friends have gone to the Indy 500 a couple of times. Um, I know that's not like the kind of the same setting, but it feels relatively the same to me, just because how big the race theater
Hmm.
track is. And I'm gonna be so honest, I don't feel in danger at all when I go to a racetrack.
Yeah.
So like that concept of a car disaster happening to me feels completely unrealistic.
Hmm.
Um, so for with my experiences, for me, that's already a negative. However, the second one, where there's the movie theater and
Yeah.
the 3D explosion and everything like that. I did like that just because of the escalator scene.
Hmm.
That shit was fucking dope. I did like that a lot. But that also kind of bleeds into a negative, but we're not there yet. My second positive, or I guess I have three. Um, Second positive would be it in a way that movie is responsible for us doing this right now.
That is true.
If it wasn't for that fucking film, we'd probably not be doing this. And
Yeah.
so I will thank it. I am sincerely thankful for it existing for that reason alone. And then the last thing will be it brought back I don't even know how to say his name, Kati Williamson.
I'll guess with you as well. I think that's how I would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
McKelty Williamson.
Yeah.
McKelty Williamson played in Forrest Gump. He was Bubba. So
Wow.
yeah,
I did not know that.
yeah. So for that reason alone, it gets a little bit of praise from me.
Nice.
Just for that reason, because I genuinely I did like Bubba in Forrest Gump, and he is a solid actor. Um, Again, it kind of bleeds into a negative, but for the most part, I will give it credit for bringing not so much an obscure actor, but out of everybody in this film, he probably has the most star power to me personally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Just I'll second that.
um,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, going into the bads. Uh, I feel like we can't even like breeze through this one. Uh, because this is the one that we probably have the most bads for. Um, so like at the top, I said that my critiques for the Final Destination movies are pretty ubiquitous amongst the series.
Mhm.
I think the characters in these movies are so annoying. They, um, like it's truly joyous to watch them die, and I do think part of that is doing it on purpose,
Mm.
so like you don't feel bad when they die. But they're so annoying, and I think this one, everyone's the most annoying. Everything about this movie actually is annoying. An upsetting film to watch. It reminds me of Friday the 13th 3D
Oh shit. Okay.
in the way that they use CGI.
Oh
Of
yeah.
like, hello, we've unlocked this new technology, and boy, are we gonna use it. With the opening title sequence, as much as I like that, I hate the ending of this movie, where instead of giving us one good final death, they cut and redo the X-ray thing, and it's so bad. It's so I if I wanted to see a demonstration, I would not be watching a movie. This is not what a film is for. You brought a video into my film.
So I just watched like a whole breakdown of all the deaths in the entire series minus Bloodlines
Yeah.
from the producer. And he said the reason why they did that is because legitimately they ran out of money, so they could not film.
I know. You didn't even. I could have guessed that. I did I see that same interview? No. Did I know nonetheless? Absolutely.
He didn't seem like completely thrilled about that statement either. He was just like, "Yeah, we ran out of money, so we thought it'd be cool to, use the same title sequence for the end." Thought it was a cool idea, and then he just immediately could like
Yeah,
transition to the next movie.
that's what you have to do.
That's fair.
Yeah, the CGI in this is like total bullshit. It almost like I agree with you that the theater premonition is a better one,
Hmm.
but that whole like 3D explosion concept is so Friday the 13th 3D. It's so dastardly. I would be offended watching that in theater.
It's almost like it's like a decade old. Like I don't know. Like I feel like that
It's so
explosion.
dated.
Yeah, it's very dated. It's like something you would see out of like a '90s like action trailer. Massive explosion. You could feel it in the
Uh-huh.
theater. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot of saving graces with this film. I'm not gonna
No.
lie. Okay. Well,
This one, I think you're the one who pointed this out to me. Something I already had in my mind, but you really articulated it. But in the Final Destination movies, there reaches a point where everyone's made out of mush.
Yeah.
And this one,
It's what
everyone is made out of mush. Um, like it just
it is cartoon levels of physics that they're
yeah,
using. Like, like even like the first initial like actual kill after the incident happens, the woman who gets like cut in half by a tire. That's not how human bodies work at
yeah.
all. I don't give a fuck how fast that tire is going.
Well, the Final Destination actually takes place in the goo world.
My
um,
apologies.
this I will admit, this one has like a death that haunts me more than others.
Oh.
Where the guy gets his ass sucked into the pool because a community pool definitely has the technology powerful enough to slurp someone's asshole, uh,
Completely out of
com- to slurp their insides completely out through their butt.
while you're drowning in the
Yeah,
process. I think for me, that's probably the more upsetting part. I
that
haven't.
must have felt really good for the pool.
If I really got his payback, I got one of you motherfuckers. Mm, Speaking of that scene, all right, there was no like real reaction to that. I guess that you never see like the aftermath. I feel like you see like a good amount of aftermath for a lot of the deaths, like at least somebody else being like, "Holy shit," right? But like with that one specifically, like you get the guts and the bowels and all that comes out of like the little full thing, right? And it just drops the coin and then that's the end of it. Nobody else says anything. You don't see anybody else react to that whatsoever. I feel like that does a huge disservice to it because in my head, like everybody just didn't notice that, and you're just still swimming. There's-
Wow, this pool has some weird cleaner.
It's like, all right. Oh, that's wild. That's crazy. I don't know. Keep it going. It's a community pool. They're not surprised. They're just like,
Yeah,
this is another Saturday. They got Bob this
yeah,
time.
typical day at the community pool. Yeah,
uh, but okay.
yeah. So, our star rating individually for the Final Destination, what would you give it out of five?
Uh, if I can I get? Oh, all right. I don't want to say because all right. So there is like what is that character's name? What's his name in the Final Destination? George, the security guard,
Mm,
guy. I his like I tried to kill my I've been trying to kill myself all day type of deal. That was kind of funny. It was like probably the darkest humor in there, but it
yeah,
was pretty good. So that made me chuckle a little bit. Also, they do kill like a Klansman, I want to
yeah.
say.
He's just his character's name is racist.
So they kill a racist, which that for me, at least that's worth like a half point. But I feel like I also have to take that point, half point away because this movie like just randomly twice in the film just randomly cuts to like something just hard racist for like no reason.
Yeah.
Like so you got the racist who drops the N word with the hard R. So that's already like okay, cool.
Hmm.
All right. And then later on, at the end of the towards the end of the film, you have that one old guy who's like sitting in the
Oh
hospital.
yeah. God,
He's just
he
like,
was really racist too.
like, just no reason. Like, there's a writer who wrote this down, and like, in my head, I'm like, why? Like, you could have just like, so it just it clashes so hard with the rest of the film. Um, I'll give it a 1 out of 5 for me personally. There's some positives. They made a film,
Yeah.
so it exists.
I gave it a 1.5.
Okay.
Half a point is for the character named MILF. Before we before we completely leave the world of the Final Destination, I'd like to read off some cool character names.
Okay.
MILF, mechanic, racist, mechanic's girlfriend, racist wife, cowboy, MILF's husband, girl on top, water gun brat, golfer, anchorman, Mr. Subby,
Who wrote these names? Was it a fucking fraternity, like a frat party? Like I don't understand.
Chinese orderly, toy helicopter operator, toy car operator, kid with bolt, coffee shop customer, and moviegoer with feet on seat. Thank you, the final destination.
I, I appreciate it. Oh wow. Oh my god, I didn't think it could get any worse, but it really did. Holy shit.
They the Chinese orderly was they someone was writing that down
They could have
and
just
they were like, we specifically need anti-Asian hate in this movie. This is what we were missing.
That's what we needed.
I
Like,
wonder I wonder if we give them like the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the writer was like, I'm sick of people who are racist. I want to show racist people die in terrible ways.
so I want to agree with you,
Yeah.
right? Right. Okay, so we did get the racist who died, right?
Yeah.
But the,
But
the
that old guy didn't die.
died, no,
You're right.
he got away with
All
what he
right.
said.
I'm done playing devil's advocate. I never believed.
So-
Did the Chinese orderly die?
No, no, no. He just
Okay.
never came
Shut
back.
up to Chinese orderly. Yeah, what if that's his first and last name?
My parents picked what I was gonna do at birth. They did not care. They said, "Fuck your dreams, fuck your aspirations."
You're Chinese and you're gonna be
Be
orderly.
Give me a movie about that. That sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's the next one.
From the world of Final Destination. Okay.
Okay.
God damn, I hate this film. Okay.
Moving on.
Wait, I want to just point
Oh,
this
you have one more?
one thing just real quick. So I'm on like the Google page for this
Uh-huh.
movie, and I'm looking now. So, all right, IMDb 5.1 stars out of 10, right? Rotten Tomatoes 28%, Metacritic 30%. For some reason, out of Google users, this film has a 81% like this movie. So maybe we're in the minority.
Let's see what the letterbox average is. Because I think that people like Google reviews, people will like look up a movie and they'll be like, yeah, I liked it.
Okay.
Because it's just like a little thumbs up or thumbs down.
Gotcha. Well, let me go
The
ahead.
letterboxed average,
Yes.
2.1.
Thank you, Letterbox. All right.
Thank you, letterbox.
Yeah, no, that's all I really got. The only thing else I have is like this the director is David R. Ellis. He also gave us fantastic films like Snakes on a Plane and Sharknado. I will point out he did also make Final Destination 2, which is funny for me, but we'll move on to that later. But I
Yeah.
just wanted to point that out.
It is funny for you, and we'll bring that up later.
Okay.
But yeah, so Final Destination 4, I'm refusing to call you by your name, was sixth on our list and sixth on our individual lists as well.
Yeah.
Moving on to 5 on our aggregate list, Final Destination 5.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Perhaps. So, Final Destination 5, the tagline,
Okay.
death has never been closer.
God damn.
Also bad.
Also bad.
Uh,
I one. I'll give it a fucking one. It's
I'd agree with you there, man.
it's better. At least like they kind of try.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Our synopsis. Death is just as omnipresent as ever, and is unleashed after one man's premonition saves a group of coworkers from a terrifying suspension bridge collapse. But this group of unsuspecting souls was never supposed to survive, and, in a terrifying race against time, the ill-fated group frantically tries to discover a way to escape death's sinister agenda.
Mm, okay, I like it.
That's a really full synopsis. That
That does way more than the
yeah,
final destination. Holy shit! How the fuck? You can tell that they put a little bit more passion behind this
yeah.
one.
So do you want to start this one off with some goods or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when it comes to Final Destination 5, I want there's some key takeaways that I did like from it. I like that this movie introduced another way to kind of cheat death, if you will.
Mhm.
So up until this movie came out, the only way to quote unquote beat death was to die. Um, and we'll expand a little bit more of that when it comes to Final Destination 2. But that was pretty much the only way to cheat death when it came to falling back into death's design. This movie introduced the concept of if you take a life, you absorb
Mhm.
the years and life of whomever you kill, which kind of made it towards the end of the film a kind of like a little bit of a slasher because you have the guy who's not Tom Cruise, apparently.
He's like Tom Cruise in
He's
the way that I think he's Tom Cruise, but I know he's not.
so so for me, I didn't see Tom Cruise. At first, I legitimately thought, like, I like glancing, because this was movie was kind of playing in the background. I legitimately thought it was Dave Franco.
Yeah, he's like if Tom Cruise and Dave Franco had a beautiful baby boy.
Yes. I was like, the fuck? I didn't know Dave Franco was in this movie. So I like that idea. I like that this movie did bring Tony Todd's character back,
Yeah.
Jason Bloodworth. I enjoyed the creativity, I guess I want to say, for some of the kills. I'm trying to think of one that kind of sticks out in my head, but there's so many.
The, they're pretty creative in this one. I like the two that stick out for me are the LASIK,
Yes.
um, and I just think it's really funny when the one guy accidentally kills the other guy, and he's trying not to,
Dude.
and he dies anyway, and then he's just like, "All right, I guess I'm safe." And then they're at the bar at the end, and he finds out that the guy had the brain tumor, and then he dies.
Some Wile E. Coyote shit.
Yeah,
That's why.
that was quite good. I really enjoyed it. This movie was an enjoyable watch for me.
Mhm.
I feel like it had a really good sense of humor.
Yes. Yes.
And there are a few more things that I think are funny. Well,
Yeah. Okay, now it's coming
we
back
can
to
get into those in a second if you want.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
My favorite kill was the or death rather, because they're not kills. I mean, they're
yeah.
being what is it when you're being killed or murdered by death? It's just death, right? Uh,
In a way, isn't that life?
uh, the massage parlor.
That one was really good.
Yes, I
Yeah.
liked the fake out for all of that. I thought that was really a really clever way. And the
Hmm.
actor, bless his heart, don't know his name. Could look it up, not going to. Love that guy. I think he was a fantastic addition for that specific scene. He played it very well. And there was some, I don't think I ever wanted somebody to die.
I think that was Isaac PJ Bryan.
Yeah, PJ
Yeah.
Bryant. I know I've seen him in other things.
Hmm.
So I think he did a really good job with his character and with his specific death scene. I liked how comical the fucking wrench death scene was with fucking what's his fucking name? Holy shit. Um, like balding guy. David. Oh shit. Co Coker?
Kochner.
Kochner? Yes. But I love him as an actor. So the fact that he had like probably the most comical death
Hmm.
to me was hysterical. I love how
Yeah.
like fucking just out of nowhere that shit was. Like I said, I like the murder scenes or like the new concept that it added. And overall, and then the biggest thing, right, is that this movie is actually a prequel,
Yeah.
which kind of puts the whole series up until the most recent release of Bloodlines. It made it all full circle.
Hmm.
And I really did like that. That was a solid way to end the film.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree. I really enjoyed that as
yeah.
well. I thought it was really clever. It was an interesting ending. It kind of twisted how these are very formulaic movies.
Yes.
Most of them, if not all of them, end in a way that has like an ambiguous ending
Hmm.
on what's going to happen next. And this one did that in a way that, like, going into another accident or like big tragedy,
Hmm.
it set it up in a way that worked really well.
Yes.
So I think that that was a clever use, and I'm glad to see that after Final Destination 4, that they did put some planning into what they were going to do at the end.
Oh, and the premonition scene. I guess that
Yeah.
premonition scene was a believable situation.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now that I really think about it, especially now, like it's funny. I just watched Final Destination 5, and then like a week later, they had that ship collide into the Brooklyn Bridge,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh wow, that's fucking. There's some irony on that one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The other thing that was really, really funny to me,
Mhm.
I think the whole thing with the FBI agent is hilarious. I think the fact that he's so convinced that this completely unassuming guy did it is so funny. Because no one would look at that guy and be like, he kills someone.
Yeah, he murders
He,
people.
I'm not even sure that, like, he could do anything. I'm like, you could tell me that he doesn't know how to make like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I'd be like, that's really unfortunate. Someone has to teach this guy, and I'd believe you.
That actually brings me to like a
Yeah.
concept, a thing that some of the Final Destination movies do as a whole. I I understand why they have like law enforcement and like
Uh-huh.
agents in them, but they literally never go anywhere with it.
No.
It is never like, oh, we're gonna arrest you, go put you in a holding cell, somebody dying in jail, nothing. It's just straight up, just like, oh, yay, I'm suspicious of you. I think you murdered somebody. That's it. That's all we
Yeah.
got. Yep. And then I'm gonna fade up into obscurity. So,
Hmm.
but please continue.
Yeah. That was the only other good I had that we didn't already bring up. I don't have any like firm bads for this one. It's just kind of very on the tin.
Yeah.
Like, you know what you're gonna get.
Hmm.
My one weird middle point,
Okay.
the character Olivia,
Which one was Olivia?
the hot one.
Oh, the glasses.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
What's the deal there?
Okay. All right.
Because like she's kind of cunty. Um, I'll give it. Like she's kind of cunty. I like that she rolls up to the work retreat
Hmm.
out of this guy's van. Was he British or did I make up that he's British? Like this British rocker.
I'm gonna say he's British just because I find that funnier.
It is funny. It was really funny to me. And then she like the girl's harassing her for being a slut, and she says something like, "You don't know what boobs are? They look like this," and takes off her top. That's insane.
That's a crazy
This
person.
and the fact that like that's what she wore to the work retreat anyway. Everyone else is in like jeans and flannels and jackets, and she's in shorts, boots, and a tank top.
Yeah, that's very not business casual at
No.
all.
I and business casual aside, I don't think it. Are they going camping? Don't wear that. Like I'm just so confused by everything happening with their character, and I want to be like, yes, this is excellent. This is campy. I'm having a great time,
Mhm.
but it's so objectifying and misogynist that I'm like, I don't think she's cunty. Like I want to think she's cunty, but she's not. She's being objectified. This is not good.
I think I think
Yeah.
that's just a byproduct of the time because I think that
Yeah.
one came out with 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
Listeners, I implore you to look up the one of the posters for the movie, one of the promo images, where everyone is like stanced up. This is also the letterbox background. Everyone's stanced up and confused, ready to face on death.
Bro, she
And
sticks out.
she has her hip pop, her arms crossed, and dare I say, is she mewing at the camera
She's
while her hair majestically flows behind her?
she's also wearing a mini skirt, or is that shorts?
I think those are the shorts, unless I don't remember, but that's what she was wearing to the work retreat.
That's right. Oh my God, what the fuck?
You should not be wearing that, girl. It's gonna be cold.
Because I feel like 2011 was like the same year like emo and scene kids were like a really big thing.
We'll
Uh,
get into that. Well, I I don't. So the Final Destination movies tend to have one character, and all of them, who's like emo or alternative in some way.
yes.
And it's kind of, I think the Final Destination movies are trying to like be cool. Like they're trying to be cool and alternative and have like that sort of rocker vibe to them. And you can tell because like in the credits for the movies, opening and closing, they'll often use like rock music. Sometimes they'll have it like play throughout.
Hmm.
Not an official score. They're very like traditional, even like cheesy score.
Yeah, generic rock
But
music.
it's not even like generic. The score itself will be like a traditional movie score, and it will
Hmm.
be like suspense
Hmm.
or like action,
Yeah,
and then they'll play rock music like periodically, but it's never part of the score in the movie.
fair enough. Yeah, yeah.
So they're trying to like go off of that cultural movement, and they sometimes they hit it, sometimes they don't.
Hmm.
And I think that this movie is one where they don't. That character in this one is Olivia, and she's just not. She's kind of hipstery, if anything, but she's the closest you get to that sort of rocker character that you have
Yeah.
continuously
Out of the group,
appear.
yeah, the entire group, she sticks
Yeah.
out like the hardest out of everybody
Yeah.
there.
Like she's definitely the one occupying that space, but she's not fully hitting the mark, which I guess is perfect for 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any negatives for this film?
No, no real negatives.
Yeah, same.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's probably like it probably would have been higher on the list if the other films didn't exist.
Yeah.
But for it being what it is, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're good enough.
Yeah.
You're solid. You
What
didn't.
would what would your star rating be for this one?
I do 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, right
All
up
right.
there. Yeah, it's not the worst film. We already discussed that in length. This one, on the other hand, it's suitable, and I think the ending itself saves it a lot. However, I
Yeah.
will say one thing. I feel like that, like when you know the ending and you rewatch this film, it is so heavy-handed
Hmm.
that it's a fucking prequel, just because of how often they keep bringing up fucking Paris. Like, it's like,
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, but I think it's so funny. I think how much they bring it up is so funny, and the fact that I like when, oh my God, who's the main guy? Sam?
from the original.
No, no,
Oh,
no, from this one.
from this one, yeah, I think it's the same.
Yeah, I find it really funny when he's like, "All right, let's move on from this accident," and he like picks up, and he's a cook now. He's doing all this stuff. It's so funny to me. And he's like, "I got the Paris internship or whatever," and it's so like rom-commy, and
Yeah.
it's funny to me.
So I guess I don't want to be a
Yeah.
nitpicking asshole, but
No, no, no. That's what this podcast is.
okay. So I have questions now that now that you brought this into my brain, right? So Sam was a part of a federal agent's death, or at least a witness to the federal agent's
Yeah.
death, and then he straight up killed a guy there out of self-defense, nonetheless. How did he still keep that internship?
The French love that.
Like, I feel like they would be like, you cannot leave the country until this case is closed completely. You sir should not. Like, I feel like legally speaking, he shouldn't have done it. But that, again, that's just me being overly nitpicky. I get it. I know it's a film, so we just have to.
The French love that shit. The federal agent's dead. No one thought that he was doing anything except that one agent anyway. So he was just probably completely written off.
And that's fair, yeah, because he gets
Yeah.
he gets shot in the fucking he gets shot in the kitchen, which is
Yeah.
completely understandable. I think it again, he scares the fuck out of me there. That shit was horrifying.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your score?
I give this one a 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Suitable. It's very suitable.
Yeah.
Um, I I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a 5 out of 5 with the series. If I'm gonna be honest with you, right off the
Yeah, I
rip.
know I don't.
Yeah.
I'd like to read my letterbox review for this
Oh,
one.
please, please, please.
So for this one, I said this one stands out from the others because of that sweet, sweet 2010s lighting.
Could you explain in more detail for the
This
audience?
one is lit like none of the other movies, where it has that cool blue filter over the whole thing, and it's just so funny to me. It's so aggressively 2010s. Um, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. These movies are definitely like a time capsule in a lot of ways,
Oh, certainly.
of like the of the early of pretty much the entire early 2000s, honestly, the
Yeah.
entire 2010s,
Hmm.
all the way through. So, okay.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, this one has a lower score by Google users.
That's embarrassing. Google users got pussies up.
All right, so we're gonna move on to number three.
Yeah. And number five on our list, Dexter had number five
Yes,
at five,
yes, yes, yes.
and I had it at four.
Ah, yes.
So I had it a little bit higher,
Mm.
which you can tell by the fact that he gave it 2.5 and I gave it
Yeah.
a 3. So moving on, number four on our aggregate list is going to be Final Destination 2.
Now this one is very interesting to me
Yeah.
because this one, without giving like your entire list away, you seem to have not enjoyed this one as much as I did, and I'm wondering if that's due to nostalgia for me,
Hmm.
or if you can legitimately tell me something about it that makes me go like, ah, you might be onto something.
So I don't like this movie. I- we'll start there. I think it's fine. I don't dislike it, but I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that the way the omens work in this one are really stupid. I think that if the first Final Destination sets up like this interesting premise and it's like, where do we go from here?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like where two went with it. It doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I it frankly annoys me. I don't think it uses the premise to the best extent. And just it's fine. It's a completely mid movie. Um, I think everyone's super annoying, and I think the fact that they kill Clear was stupid. I get it. Everyone has to die in these movies. That's fine. But the whole act of bringing back a legacy character just to kill them,
Mm-hmm.
especially like in this series when it's like that's the one survivor, and I get that they have to go back to the past to figure everything out,
Mm-hmm.
but it just didn't work for me. It felt like it was pulling a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this one, for me, ends up being worse in comparison to the other movies. That's the thing, because the other ones go in like different ways, especially compared to three, and we'll talk about that in a sec.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I just it doesn't fully do it for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, I get that. Are we doing the
yeah,
letterbox stuff
yeah, yeah,
before we
yeah.
go into any other details?
Yeah, would you like to read the tagline from Letterboxd?
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
Yeah,
For every beginning, there is an end. Period.
bad. Doesn't. I don't get how this one. I don't know why that's not the tagline for the Final Destination. Like, I don't why. I'm just kind of confused.
So I think what I would say is I don't think that they thought the series was going to go past maybe 3 films.
Yeah,
So maybe they believe by because
they didn't. You can tell in three they were not. They thought that was it.
they're like just grasping at straws. Like, well, fuck, I guess we're here now.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Would you like me to read the synopsis?
Please.
Okay. When Kimberly has a violent premonition of a highway pileup, she blocks the freeway, keeping a few others meant to die safe. Or are they? The survivors mysteriously start dying, and it's up to Kimberly to stop it before she's next. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's pretty
Yeah.
much every film wrapped up into a little
Yeah.
bow. Um, so you have a lot more thoughts about this one. I'm gonna let you go first and take the reins on this.
Sure. So my goods for this movie,
Hmm.
it's pretty much one major thing. The opening's great.
Yes.
This is one of the strongest accidents at the beginning.
Hmm.
It's just great.
Hmm.
The way that they use it, the way they incorporate everyone. You can't drive on the freeway anymore.
Nope.
Um, I think that's really strong and really solid. That's my main praise
Okay.
for this one. If you want to go ahead and take it with your goods, and then I'll pop in with a. I have a few more bads.
Okay. So I liked for this one in particular. I also agree with you. The pilot scene is great, but I also like what they did with the end of that like premonition sequence too, where they kind of kill off the fake main characters. Because you
Hmm.
start the film off with a group of people in that SUV, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
these are gonna be the people that
Hmm.
are dying, or are gonna be like in the film, and then they immediately go, nope, fuck that, and they killed off every single one of them except
Yeah.
for Kimberly's character, which I thought was really good.
Hmm.
I like the fact that um, I like that they really messed around with the fake outs a lot in this
Hmm.
one because they had two really good ones. Actually, three. So the first one for me is the apartment scene, right? Where you get the lottery winner guy.
Yeah.
Um, you have like the garbage disposal, like the fire. I think all this crazy shit's gonna happen to him, and instead, what kills him is a fucking ladder. Beautiful. Um, the second one was the dentist scene, uh, with like the plastic fish and
Hmm.
the kid like suffocating and everything like that. Solid. Thought that was really good. Just be fucking like
Yeah.
crushed. And then the third one was the hospital scene
Hmm.
with Terrence Carson's character, I believe that's his name.
Yes, correct. His name is Eugene.
Eugene, yes, Eugene. Funny thing about that actor, he plays Kratos in the original God of War series.
Hmm.
Yeah. So like him a lot. And that's pretty much it for like the positives. I love the return. I love Tony Todd returning
Yeah.
to expand on the lore of um Death's design
Hmm.
and actually giving the cast a chance to actually get out of it.
Yeah.
So, which I think is very important when you have a series like this to kind of have a way to win,
Hmm.
because otherwise it's like, what's the point of going to it? Well, I, as
Yeah.
an,
What's the point of sort of like continuing
mhm,
if you don't up the ante?
yeah, and
And that's a way to do so.
yeah, so I like that. I genuinely like the cast as a whole for all the strangers that were dealing with the mysterious deaths. Um, I don't think there was really like a bad character. They all kind of seem relatively solid for the most part. Like I see their heads, I see their characters in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, that one's this one, that one's this one, that one's this
Yeah.
one. And they all kind of seem to have had a personality, and um, that's all I really have for like positives, honestly.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think for me too, when it comes to this film in particular, this was the first Final Destination I ever saw. So for
Gotcha.
me, this has like a huge like nostalgia factor to me.
Hmm.
The fact that I still like when I'm on the highway and I see a semi that's carrying anything in front of me and I immediately switch lanes, tells me something. You know,
Yeah. No, I do too.
like, like, nope, not today, Satan. Um, so that's it for me when it comes to the positives, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I actually only had one more bad.
Oh,
I think they made clear to normal.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was a little freak, and then they made her normal, which was really impressive because wasn't she committed at the beginning? She was like in a mental hospital.
Yes, you very much.
Yeah. How'd they make her normal? That was the place for her to float. Or I guess like she doesn't have like freedom of self-expression.
Yeah, it's just like in a white room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Uh,
don't care. They took her sparkle.
I have a, yeah, I have a, there's a few things I am mixed about when it
Yeah.
comes to this film. Um, do you want to go first or?
No, you go
Okay.
ahead. That's
Okay.
pretty much all the notes I had. I've
Uh,
said them.
okay, yeah. I don't. So mix is probably the wrong word, but I'm gonna say this. We haven't discussed Final Destination 1, but I feel like number two would have worked a lot better if they kept the original ending for Final Destination 1, if that makes sense. So the original ending for Final Destination 1 was that Alex was going to sacrifice himself
Hmm.
and Clear would have survived
Yeah.
to give birth to their child because
Yeah.
Clear became pregnant in the
Hmm.
original script.
Okay.
So if I take the original script in mind, I feel like the movie works a little bit better.
I agree.
Um, just because it kind of seems like they kind of pull Clear out of nowhere,
Hmm.
just to kind of like abruptly offer, which I agree with you. Fucking, it's dumb.
Yeah,
Um,
it's I just don't think it's a good use of the character.
no, it's not. It's like she came back. She like had like an exposition dump, and then kind of just like meandered around for a
Yeah.
couple of scenes just to get blown up, which was like, okay, well, why'd you come? I will say I want justice for Alex though, because that was fucked up what they did to my man. They just like off screen death. Got killed by a
Yeah.
brick. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I know there's like scheduling conflicts or whatever the fuck, but it's just like, really? Like, the fuck?
He was your guy.
Yeah, he was the guy. He was like one of the few like survivor guys.
Yeah.
Final guys, yeah, he's one of the few final guys in like a horror series, and it's fucking abruptly just gets taken off screen. Lame. Um, I got really annoyed by the additional premonitions.
Almost like someone earlier said, the way they do the premonitions in this movie are a little stupid.
That's yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. That shit. It just a lot of them came out of like convenience. Like, oh, I didn't mean this. I meant this.
Yeah.
Like, uh, like, bitch, what was that 5 minutes ago? Like this woman's head's in an elevator. The fuck? Oh, I do have one more positive. I like that everybody else could participate in the death hints, if you will.
Yeah,
I thought that was
I'm
helpful.
happy you liked it.
Yeah.
I'm really thrilled when anyone has a great time with a movie. Even if I don't, I'm happy that everyone else is having a great time. Unless the movie is just like objectively shit, in which case you're all being judged.
That's fair. That's it for really me. I liked it as a kid. I think, like I said, for me, I think it scores higher because that was my first Final Destination, and it was kind of like my go-to movie for a while. Like I think I'm not sure if I had it on DVD or VHS, but I do remember watching that one in particular multiple times.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
What would your rating be for this one?
So my rating for Final Destination 2 would be 2.5 stars.
Okay, right off the rip. All right. And for me, it would be three.
Okay. And on our aggregate list, this one was 4, and it had 7 points. That's because Dexter ranked it as number 2,
Yeah.
and I ranked it as number 5.
So it wasn't the best and it wasn't the worst. It's like, and it's not in the middle.
And it did go in the middle.
It's
um,
the
and it actually tied with the movie we'll be talking about next, which also got 7 points.
yes.
And that is going to be the original Final Destination.
Yep. The original Final
Yeah.
Destination.
So into our top three. Number 3 is the original Final Destination, also getting 7 points. What we did to decide if it was going to be third or not was we took a real hard look into our inner selves and decided it's only right that 1 is higher. And also on our individual lists, I'll already disclose they were both a lot closer,
Yeah.
so it moved it up.
Yep.
But Dexter gave this one a spot in 4, and I gave this my number 3 spot.
Mm-hmm.
So the original Final Destination,
Got this one.
the tagline: no accidents, no coincidences, no escapes. You can't cheat death.
I like that.
Brilliant.
What the fuck? Where is that supposed to go?
Well, you see, they accident They actually use four different taglines here by the fact that there are four periods. So they took them all from the other movies.
Just put them all in one thing.
I'd give this tagline a solid 4 out of 5.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree with that. It kind of reminds me of like the original Terminator
Mm,
when they're when I can't remember the guy's fucking name, but when he's talking to oh my God, when's the last time I seen the Terminator? I feel like I'm losing my nerd card right now.
you are.
I am.
The nerd police are gonna show up like the vegan police.
Okay, so when Sarah Connor is being talked to by Kyle Reese, when Kyle Reese is talking to Sarah Connor and he's describing what the Terminator is, it reminds me a lot of that.
Okay.
There's no compromise. You can't compromise with it. You can't bargain with it. It
Yeah,
only wants to kill you. So I love that.
yeah. Our synopsis for this one. After a teenager has a terrifying vision of him and his friends dying in a plane crash, prevents the accident only to have death hunt them down one by one. That's
What?
exactly what happens in the movie. Great job. Great synopsis.
Wonderful synopsis.
I'm gonna point out the similarities between this synopsis and four.
Okay.
That was me pointing it out. I don't want to talk about four anymore. It keeps coming up. It's like an annoying rash.
Just go away.
We're done with you.
Okay, understandable.
Yeah, if you want to kick this one off with your goods.
Okay, yes. So when it comes to the original Final Destination, I think that the film overall is it's the OG, right?
Yeah.
It presented the concept in such a unique way that it built a whole franchise off of its back, which I think
Mhm.
is dope. Considering that this film was originally an X-Files episode
Yeah.
that somebody took down, and then they were like, "Why as well expand this into a whole movie?" So I applaud them on that. I like the experimentation that went into this film because you could definitely tell, see, seeing where the series went as a whole now, this movie definitely sticks out like a sore thumb in a few ways when it comes to how death is personified,
Yeah.
right? So in this movie, the first person to die, Alex's best friend, I can't remember his name off the rip. Um,
That was our ASMR break.
Thank you. Oh, Todd. I'm pretty sure it's Todd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Todd, how he dies, it's very supernatural in a lot of ways, right? So you get
Hmm.
like the water that pours in, he slips, gets wrapped up, starts strangling and dying in a very painful manner,
Yeah.
right? But then after he passes, right, the water rescinds as if it was
Hmm.
never there. I thought that was a nice touch.
It's so good. I like death being a character
Yes.
and like the supernaturality of it
Hmm.
and the fact that these are like freak accidents.
Yes.
That's the thing. They're supposed to be things that could never happen.
Hmm.
So seeing them actually play like that is really good.
Yes.
And I think that that's where this series is at its strongest.
Hmm. I also thought that the
Yeah.
opening premonition, um, for the original for the OG, solid.
It's great.
It's a great pool. It's something that I feel like everybody thinks about when it comes, especially I don't know in 2025, where it seems like planes don't like staying in the sky.
Yeah.
It's a little bit it's a little eerie, but I think so.
Also, I'm gonna point this out now. I was gonna bring it up at some point.
Okay.
This took place before 9/11.
Yes. Literally like a year and some change before I think it
Yeah.
came out in March of 2000. Yeah, like the following year. That's crazy. Could you imagine? Like, uh, it wouldn't have came out. It wouldn't have come out.
No,
No, not
no,
even a little bit. Yeah.
no.
So I think it came in just at the right time.
Yeah.
It made itself known and distinctive in enough ways where it's able to. Time was on this movie side for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
This is like one of the most evident pre 9/11
this
movies.
I did like the you can kind of see the bones of the franchise being built, especially when it came to the teacher. specifically. I think her name
Yeah.
was Valerie, because that was the one that really introduced like the fake outs
Hmm.
and like the more elaborate setups for the kills type of ordeal.
Yeah.
So getting to really see that kind of and what it evolved into throughout the series is very interesting to me. You get your first introduction to Tony Todd's character, Jason Bloodworth, a fantastic.
Is his name Jason Bloodworth?
Sorry, William Bloodworth. Well, I have questions now
I thought
because
his name was John.
so I'm gonna point this out to you on the screen.
Yeah, because I thought his name was like William John Bloodworth.
Ah, yes, you're right. So John Bloodworth, JB.
Yeah.
Yeah, JB. So you get to see you're
I'm just like
gonna
I know you're thinking about JB because of Bloodlines,
Yes, but
but
it's
I don't think that it was Jason. I
I
I
I think I'm thinking of the other of the fucking DC character who
maybe.
because yeah, there's a character who's like Jason Bloodworth and he's like the keeper of this demon called Etrigan. We're
Yeah,
getting
that makes more sense. Uh, skipping ahead one moment, I just was really confused at the fact that Dexter's takeaway from Bloodlines was that this little black boy in the 50s name was Jason.
Yeah, that seems normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, so where am I at?
I'm so sorry.
No, you
That really rattled me.
no, you're good. It's funny. Thank you for catching my shit. Where was I at with it?
You were
Yes,
just saying Tony Todd's great.
Tony Todd's great.
I agree.
Great exposition dump. If you needed an exposition dump, I think grabbing, I wanted having somebody with one of the most iconic voices in horror to do your exposition. 10 out of 10. Um, I liked how all the characters relatively felt realistic for the most
I
part.
agree.
I have a minor critique on them. They all kind of look like they're in their 30s, which still bothers me. But again, in the early 2000s, like I don't know if people just age terribly,
Yeah.
but like all of them look like they're in their 30s. Like there's nobody that I believe is an actual high schooler. But that was just the trend at the time.
Yeah.
So no harm, no foul. I think that's all of my real positives. Like I said, it built an entire franchise off of like a little concept, and they just ran with it so well. So, oh, I like the intensity of Devon Sawa. I like the intensity that he brought to the character. It felt very realistic for somebody who's like, "Hey, not only did I predict this shit, but I know it's gonna keep happening." But then
Hmm.
on top of that, the paranoia that he felt the entire time, like
It was palpable.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, and then like towards the end where he's like living in a fucking cabin eating fucking like tuna fish out of a fucking can, and he's like when he picks up the little fucking fish hook, he's like Technos. Didn't think about that. It's nice, good fucking job. um,
Yeah. I pretty much my kids echo all of that. I think the concept's really cool. I think this movie's cheesy as hell, but boy is it fun.
it is.
The acting is super over the top, but it's something that we're like, you want to go on that ride.
Yeah.
Like you're enjoying it.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that it just sets up the series really well.
Yeah.
I only have one real bad,
Oh, okay.
and I think the characters are annoying. I, like this is a common thread throughout
I
the
was gonna say I'm
series.
sensing a pattern here.
Um, but I just gotta say it, they're really annoying.
Yeah.
It hurts the rewatch value for the movies for me.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Especially the bully guy, Carter, I think his
Yeah.
name is just like there's the abrupt like dickishness that he just keeps breaking it no matter what the scene is. Does get kind of some after a while.
But he's doing his job, and and I can't fault him for that. Uh, like out of we're not currently watching the movie,
Yeah.
obviously, so I'm able to be like, yeah, it's cheesy, it's fun. If I was watching the movie right now, I'd be like, oh, get me out of here. um, but yeah, no, I think it's cheesy. I think it's fun. Great time with this one.
No, it's a good
It's a fun watch.
yeah, it's a good time. I don't think for me, I guess like the most mixed or like negative aspects of it are again when I was bringing up earlier, like number five, like just like the agents. Like I get them being suspicious of the kid and everything, but they kind of like serve literally no purpose. Like I know there, realistically speaking, if something like that really did happen, you'd have like a full investigation done on yourself, and you wouldn't like the FBI. You would be under surveillance 24/7. But but they kind of just flop like flunder out. Like they have like that really bad like escape from the FBI scene where he gets in, like a canoe, and that's just kind of like the end of him.
Yeah, no, I agree there.
And then as I told you before, I think the original ending for me was a lot better. I don't know why that didn't do very well with test audiences.
I
So
can see why they wouldn't like that shit. If they thought it was just like a one-off movie,
mhm.
and it's like, surprise, we're gonna keep going, and also there's a baby.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. I guess I'm looking at the hindsight with like 2020 because again, with the most recent edition, I feel like that would have worked out really well.
I feel like if they had the baby at the end of the original movie, they
Hmm.
would not have been able to make Bloodlines. Because then they would have had to explore that premise already
Uh,
in any of the other
and it
sequels.
probably wouldn't have been as successful considering what they did to the series, how they massacred it for a little
Yep.
while. Yep,
Hmm.
perfect. No,
Hmm.
I agree with you on that one. Cool.
Yep.
Um, I think that's pretty much it, honestly. Like I said, it's COG. It's good. It's
Yeah.
good. It serves its purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I'll give it a I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay. It's a three for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Shout out to James Wan.
Oh,
Not to be confused with James Wan.
yes. I was gonna bring that up too.
Yeah.
That guy, he also made something else. I think I wrote it down in my notes.
Final Destination 3.
Yes, but he also did. I want to say Snakes on a Plane.
No, that was
No.
someone else.
I think that was maybe it was the director of three. What did he make? He made something that was like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the one with Jet Li.
Gotcha.
That's what that was my. Oh, also the 2016 Black Christmas. Oh, and Willard. That was the last
Oh, he produced the uh
one. The one.
the Black Christmas.
Oh, yeah, he's a producer for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
What is
But
this?
he directed the one.
He-
He directed, wrote, and produced the one.
That's one of those movies that again more like nostalgia for me than anything else.
Hmm.
So I get it. All right. Well,
Q.
yeah. So, oh, sorry. This is probably the thing that he's most notorious for. Dragon Ball Evolution. The movies that single-handedly almost ruined everybody's careers. Uh, okay. So that's the Final Destination. What's number two on our list?
All right. Number two, we have Final Destination 3.
Yeah.
So, uh, 3 came in at number two with 9 points. It was number two on my list and number three on Dexter's list.
Yes.
So, the tagline for 3: This ride will be the death of you.
That's it.
I don't know. That's a 5 out of 5 for me. I think that's kind of baller. I think that's kind of delightful. The roller coaster one, and this ride will be the death of you.
I think that has probably the most pun. It's probably the most punny out of the rest of them.
Shut out.
uh, three. I'll give it a three.
All
That's,
right.
that's me meeting you halfway.
All right. High school senior Wendy's premonition of a deadly roller coaster ride saves her life and a lucky few, but not from death itself, which seeks out those who escaped their fate.
Give me 1 second. Pause this. Oh,
You want to kick this one off with your goods?
yes, we're talking about number three,
Number
right?
three, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So number three, I really, really, really love Elizabeth. What's her name? Elizabeth.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Mary Elizabeth Winston. I think Mary Elizabeth Winston acts her fucking ass off in this film. Every time
Yes.
she experiences a death or has anything going on, it feels genuine. It feels real. and I appreciate that a lot for her.
Hmm.
I like that they still incorporated Tony Todd in this film, even though he wasn't physically present. They did use his voice
Yeah.
for the roller coaster and the subway scene as well.
Hmm.
And he's quoted, it should be in the apparently IMDb as the devil, which is fantastic to me.
Good.
Love that. I thought the death scenes, okay, so I'll say that for later. I thought a lot of the deaths have really stuck with me as opposed to some of the films. Like, so when we talk about like the Final Destination series as a whole, when I see these like crazy things happen, I can't envision myself like dying in a lot of these ways because they're so fantastical
Hmm.
in many ways, right? But with this one in particular, that nail gun scene, that shit stuck with me. That shit felt like,
And everyone knows that you always hit up the tanning salon a lot too.
oh yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That that one to me, I don't know anything that like has to do like with head trauma, where like the head is still present after
Hmm.
the fact. I don't know. That always fucks with me. I think it's because like when I was a kid, I bashed my head open like 3 times, and that like that could have been the end of me. They've been like, oh,
Yeah.
there was a Dexter. He's not there anymore. But so for me, those ones they really stuck out to me. I like the little and the emo antagonist, Ian.
Yep.
I,
For our listeners, I'm enthusiastically nodding.
yeah.
Uh,
I thought he was a. He's
I'm
like,
actually like dancing up and down,
yeah. It's,
jumping and doing a jig.
it's quite impressive, actually.
The fact that I'm able to do all of this while holding the microphone is truly astounding.
You must do so much cardio. Real quick.
Wait until we start talking about the next movie. Wait for what I'm gonna do then.
Real, like on a side tangent, real quick. Have you ever seen Behind the Mask?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh my God. We might have to do like an episode on that one.
Okay.
So Behind the Mask is a mockumentary movie based off of like traditional 80s slashers.
Hmm.
And like one of my favorite fucking scenes is uh you see him like training and like doing a bunch of cardio and he starts talking about it. He's like, you know, you can't imagine how much cardio I have to do. You know how much cardio it takes to glide like a gazelle and not get winded? I gotta do that thing where the guys are running and I gotta see like I'm walking the entire time. It is I think if you're like a horror fan, especially like a slasher film fan, it's a really good watch because it talks about all the tropes and it makes it like it does in a very comical type of way, but it still is able to convey itself in a horror fashion as well. Towards the end, I don't want to give everything away, but yeah,
Yeah.
Behind the Mask, the story of Leslie Vernon, I think it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's. I need to actually buy that movie. That's one of the few movies that needs to be added to my collection because it's a solid film. Continuing with my positives,
It's not on Letterboxd.
it's not on Letterbox.
That's weird.
That is crazy. It is a real movie. Yes.
Yeah, I googled it.
Yeah, it exists. Yep. Leslie Vernon. Yeah. Wow. You can make an entry. That's pretty dope. Before I get too sidetracked.
Okay, I found it. It is there.
Okay,
I was
good.
like, I don't believe that it's not there.
Did you find the unicorn? um,
Yeah, 45,000 people have it logged. It's certainly there. I'm like, there's no way. Yeah.
that's a good movie. Like legit.
We should do that and Shadow of the Empire.
Ooh, I'd like
Cool. You know what our next episode is, loyal listeners.
that. Should we make it three for like a three
we'll,
piece?
we'll consider this later.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Let's not talk about we don't talk business on
We just completely derail.
Yeah, I'm still trying to think about my positives. I think that's all I really got. No,
Yeah, we like take a sidebar and we're like, and what do you think we should do?
what are you eating later, by the way?
directly to the audience. We crawl out of their car speakers.
Just sit in the passenger seat. So,
Both of
both of
us in
us
the
in the
passenger
passenger
seat.
seat. Just, so, where we going? Um, okay. All right,
I'm about to get on another side tangent. We have to.
please.
Uh, the other day, I started making up a song with my boyfriend about being at the car wash and Bob Dylan being at the car wash too, and breaking into the car and riding in the passenger seat, and now he's just with you. And that's gonna what that's what we're gonna do to our listeners.
Yes, I like that. Would that be a blessing or a curse?
I don't know. Bob Dylan's your best friend now, and you just have to deal with it.
Is is it electric Dylan or is it acoustic Dylan?
Bob Dylan right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much I would like that. Um, but continuing on.
You know, Bob Dylan's actually in Final Fantasy.
Is he really?
No, I'm lying. I'm actually lying.
I want that to happen now. I don't know why. I want like a geriatric Final Destination.
It's Final Destination, and it's just like in a nursing home, and people are dying peacefully.
There's Besides, might be today, death takes a vacation.
It's one of those cats that smells cancer, and it just follows the cat around. The tagline is meow.
That kind of reminds me of. I'm gonna do another movie recommendation real quick. The Rule of Jenny Pin
Hmm.
that just came out. They have a cat in the movie that does that. Oh, and Doctor Sleep. They do it in Doctor Sleep too.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a fantastic movie.
yeah. Doctor Sleep is underrated.
Yeah, I agree.
Everyone get on that.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I showed it to someone and they loved it. They were like, how come I didn't know this happened? I was like, exactly. I don't know why.
Because everyone hated it when it came
I
out.
don't why. It's so good.
Have you all heard of Fun?
um,
Yeah. Anyway, Final Destination 3.
yeah, I'm gonna just let you take over. 'Cause I'm gone. I don't know.
Okay. The characters in this film are likable. Um, like you were saying, these are some of the best performances that you have in Final Destination. They're still cheesy, but you're having a good time with them. You care about what's happening to the characters. Even Ian, the emo dickhead, he's fun to watch. He's delightful.
Yes.
They make you sympathetic even, like versus the first movie where the villain like sucks, or
Yeah.
like not the villain, the bully.
Yeah.
Um, this guy he antagonizes, but really like he's just hurt.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is it-
he he's just hurt that his girlfriend died.
Yeah.
But before then, he's just a guy who's there and chilling,
Yeah.
and he's like, okay, if death skips people, then I'm just gonna end the line, and I think that's pretty logical. Um, like I can't fault him for that, and this isn't just me saying that because he's emo, and uh, you know, that's all I got there. I love the way that they use the photos in this.
Mm.
I think that, like I was saying with two, I think that I like two less because of how much I like three.
Mm.
I think that what they're doing in three, it's really clever. They take the premise and they push it. They treat this like this is your last bout with the series, that this is the like final in the trilogy,
Yep.
which it is if you count the trilogy.
Mhm.
And it's cool. It keeps it fresh. It remedies like the bullshit from two.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's interesting. It adds a cool mystery element where I feel like they all have that sort of how will this happen murder mystery thing,
Yeah.
but like a re-murder mystery.
Mhm.
And this one just like full leans into it that I think makes it a really enjoyable film. It's that puzzle aspect.
Yeah.
That even you're looking at the photos and you're like, okay, well, it's clear that this type of injury is going to happen. How is it going to happen? When is it going to happen?
Mhm.
And you're sort of following along with the characters, and I think it's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. Are you mixed on anything when it comes to this film, or are you pretty like?
No, same with the others. It's pretty on the tin.
Yeah.
Like anything bad I have to say about it, it's kind of ubiquitous to the series.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much for it. Yeah. Um. Okay. I feel
Yeah.
like with three we're both kind of like, yeah, no, it's a good movie. I don't know, really. It's probably one of the better ones out of the series.
Yeah.
So for sure, if you like wanted to watch any of the Final Destinations, I think that is one thing I will say about the series as a whole. You don't really need to see the previous films to enjoy
Exactly. I
it.
think the only difference is I know you said that two was your first, you enjoyed it,
Hmm.
but compared to the other ones, it relies the most on its predecessor.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Versus three also, like I said, it fixes the problems with like the omens and like the premonitions and all of that
Yeah.
good stuff. Um, but it fixes the attachment to the first one.
Yep.
It has just enough because they research and they find out about the first
Hmm.
movie
And the
and
second one.
yeah, and the second one, yeah, and it works out really well.
Yeah, you're just like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So this happens. All right, bet.
Mhm.
Let's move forward.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm good with that.
Out of five, what's your ranking for three?
I give it a 3.5.
Okay, I
Yeah,
have the same actually,
yeah,
3.5.
yeah. I again, I think the main character does a lot of heavy lifting for that film. So,
Yeah,
I
she does that lifting well.
she does. As if, I think probably I think there's a reason why out of like all of the entire series, she's probably the one actress or actor to still get a blooming career out of it
Mhm.
because it really like besides maybe Ali Larter, there's not really and Tony Todd obviously,
Yeah,
but there's not really like a robust like
no,
people. I know Dave Devon Sawa has his like cult following, which I'll give it to him, but I haven't thought about Devon Sawa in like forever,
yeah,
being completely honest with you.
yeah, and like even for like Ollie Lauder, like it feels like she got this movie and
Hmm.
it helped. For Mary Elizabeth Winstead, it feels like they got her.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's that.
There is.
All right,
So that leaves us with number two. Or was that our number?
that
That
was
was our
number
number
two.
two. So that leaves us
So our number one,
with.
we both ranked this one as number one. It comes in with 12 points. We have the new Final Destination Bloodlines. Wonderful. The studio audience agrees.
um, yeah, I think this. Well, I'll let you do the honors first before we get
All right.
into
The tagline for Final Destination Bloodlines: Death runs in the family.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm good.
solid.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah,
I'm good.
four.
Four. Yeah.
Yeah, cool,
Uh,
cool, cool, cool.
yep. uh,
Plagued by a violent, recurring nightmare, college student Stephanie heads home to track down the one person who might be able to help break the cycle and save her family from the grisly demise that inevitably awaits them all. I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. As best as possible.
Hmm.
I will say I do out of so we've read like all the synopsises. That is the one of the few ones that sticks out completely from, or at least the first half.
Yeah.
Like and we can get into that. Spoilers again, as always. There's no we don't sugarcoat things here. We don't we if you listen to these reviews before seeing the movie, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie.
Hmm.
I felt that it used the premise super well.
Yes.
Um, kind of what I think you were just hinting at. I didn't read a synopsis before going into this movie. I frankly did not care. I was going to see it. I don't like watching trailers. I don't like reading a synopsis before going in.
Hmm.
Tell me nothing and let me watch a movie.
And I will say that the marketing did a really good job in my opinion, when it came to that, because as far as I know they did a second trailer which showed like Tony Todd's character and everything in it, but the only thing that I remember seeing when it came to Final Destination was the tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
like snippet that they
Hmm.
released, and that was enough for me to be like, okay, I'm willing to give this a shot.
Same.
Yep. Um, sorry.
And that was also super clever because that's a fake out. That
Yes.
whole thing. It's not even, you don't even see a death.
No. Yeah.
So, and they used it in the promo poster too.
Hmm.
So I was kind of mad when I saw that trailer and I'm like, oh, okay, I know one of the deaths. And the fact that you don't, that was so clever.
Yes. I think this movie had a very good advantage of hindsight with the entire series
Hmm.
at where it was so far to be like, okay, we know what works and we know what doesn't, and is film leans heavily on everything that does work.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I think that it's kind of breaking up my goods and going into like a mid.
Okay.
I think the sort of jump from the opening accident to modern day
Mm-hmm.
is harsh.
Yeah.
It's as someone who did not know that going in, like you can figure it out. Bloodlines based on the title, you're like, okay, it's probably a relative of the main girl
Mm-hmm.
in the opening. But it's a pretty harsh jump. It sort of rips you out. That's why I'm like, if I didn't read the synopsis, which I didn't, I wasn't expecting that. And if I did read the synopsis, I'd be like, what movie am I watching? What does this have to do with anything?
No, yeah, no, I agree with you. I still really enjoyed it though. I think once like set once the movie settled in after I watched it like a few hours later, I was like, yeah, no, I like that. And I think that was
Yeah,
like
same.
just because of how like destructive that premonition scene was. I'm so glad that they handled it the way that they did because it does explain everything else that happens in the film
Hmm.
very well.
Yeah.
Um,
It also it serves a couple purposes with the distance. Of course, in the film you see that it shows how much time has passed
mhm,
and how many people had to die to get to where you are for the majority of the film.
mhm,
But also, all of the Final Destination movies deal with the aftermath of the main accident immediately in the film,
yep,
where you have people going to funeral after funeral. You have like usually a large funeral for all of the victims, and that whole survivor's guilt thing that takes up a good portion of the film.
yep,
You kind of have that in this once people start dying
mhm,
in modern day, but it's to a lesser degree,
yes.
and it changes the tone. Where you have some people who are like genuinely grieving and dealing with that, and some people who are preparing for what's happening next,
Yeah.
which creates a super interesting dynamic
Mm.
that I don't think you see in any of the other films.
No, and I think what serves it to his advantage is that they made everybody related. So all
Hmm.
these characters have history, not like in the first Final Destination where they all kind of went to like high school together
Yeah.
and they kind of interacted. These people grew up from children, from babies,
Hmm.
all the way to young adulthood, knowing of each other, being in each other's presence, and they even allude to like the relationships prior to where we are seeing them in the film. And
Yeah,
it's believable all the
I
way through.
agree.
Um, man, they had some really good deaths in this one.
Yeah, the deaths were great. I feel like they really used the premise and the way that they're sort of dealing with like their interpersonal relationships, but also the way that they did the deaths. They're good.
Hmm.
They're practical again.
Yes,
I,
thank fucking God.
I feel like they learned from the problems of the franchise and made it fresh in a really great way.
Yeah, all of those feel believable, and it felt like everybody felt like a human body. Like
Yeah,
there's
they're not squishy anymore.
they're not squishy anymore, which is great. I want to make one like note. When it comes to that premonition scene, I feel like a terrible person, but I love when that kid died. That
My theater cheered.
yes. Oh, did they really?
Yes, people clapped.
It's like, yeah, fuck that kid. Like, what a fucking annoying little asshole.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bigger discussion to be had when it comes to child death in horror.
Hmm.
I know it's always kind of been a thing, but I feel like over the last couple of years now, it's become more prominent in a way. And there are some concerns that I have with people just leaning on that for shock value,
Hmm.
and I don't want it to ever get to that point. But I think out of the child deaths that I've seen over the last few years, I think this was probably the most entertaining one. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if that makes me a bad person. And in this instance, I really don't care. It was um, do you want to get into like the characters or any more of the
Yeah,
positives?
yeah. Another overarching positive, I think it has really good comedy. This
Yes.
movie was funny. There were several moments where I was like laughing out loud. This movie was funny. And then characters, there were a lot of really fun characters in this, and that's my one main bad. I'll bring that up too.
Mhm,
I don't think Steph is as strong as everyone else, our protagonist. That's the case in a lot of movies where the side characters are more interesting,
mhm.
but it just hurt in this one because I felt that there were a lot of side characters who were really interesting. Um,
She definitely got outshined in
yeah,
memorability. Like, until you said
yeah,
her name, I didn't even remember that her name
yeah.
was Steph.
And I'll list. I made a list of my favorite characters.
Yes, it does.
Um, So I think Bobby was really great. He was really funny. That's the blonde guy.
Yeah.
He was really funny throughout. He had great comedy. He was like good at playing scared. And he was super likable.
Yeah.
He was in the show Julie and the Phantoms.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was happy to see him again. I started pointing at him when he came on screen and poking Mars, and I was like mouth open pointing because I didn't know he was in that movie. So I was glad to see him there again. Shout out to Charlie, the teen brother. He was so sweet,
Hmm.
and likable, and also funny to me. His whole vibe was funny. Um, because he played like teenager so well.
Yes.
And I like how in this movie he was serving the point as being the alternative person. We'll get to the other one, but he was also the alternative person in the funniest way possible, in a way that I feel like pointed out how Final Destination has like generic alternative people in the way that he was. I'm not like gatekeeping him, but he was like, yes, let's have this teenage boy with painted nails, and by his bedside, a book that just says punk. Did you see that
I
book?
didn't see that. That's fucking great,
On his
though.
bedside table, it's just a large book that just says punk. And I think there was a picture of drums. And it was really funny to me. And I haven't seen anyone talk about that.
I love
And
that. That's beautiful.
it was beautiful. I'm glad that he's really learning. Um, and the other major character that I would be remiss not to mention is Paco.
Yes, of course, the grand and powerful
Bobby was right. He did outlive them all.
pocket. We're wasting money.
Yeah. Shout outs and blessings to Paco the turtle.
Oh yeah. I hope whoever owns him is making a very good check from this.
Yeah.
Fuck, oh, Jan.
Yeah. Paco is a champ. Of course, there's also Eric.
Oh yes.
Uh,
Which
which upon bringing up his name, I have actually begun to levitate.
yes.
um, I began to dance, but then I began to just humbly levitate in ascension.
Yes. And he's doing all this while maintaining perfect breath and speaking tone. It's remarkable.
Yeah, the microphone is also levitating perfectly in front of me.
You guys should have been here to see it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, he was the Eric was the standout character for
Definitely.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I kind of wish I kind of wish they didn't kill him off because I could have totally been down to see him as a reoccurring character.
Agreed.
Um, because he had enough charisma to he could have honestly carried like another trilogy by himself. But
Hmm.
I'm not sure if I want that considering what this series ends up doing on the long term.
Yeah.
So for me, that's
Yeah. I don't want a clear situation to happen with Eric.
yeah, I would I
Yeah.
so yeah, I agree.
I think it would have been interesting though, especially with Tony Todd's passing,
Mm,
if he became like the Bloodworth.
that would have been pretty cool. I've been
Yeah.
cool with that. That would have been pretty solid. Yeah.
But I understand why he did it. I don't want anyone to replace Tony Todd. To be totally clear, I don't want there to be another Bloodworth. I don't.
Yeah, no.
I cried with Tony Todd's
Y- Uh,
appearance.
yeah,
Um,
soliloquy.
yeah, soliloquy. That was a good use of that word.
Uh, So
Yeah.
apparently, a portion of that was actually improvised.
Jesus Christ.
Of the part where he where he picks up the box and he's about to lean out the door,
Hmm.
and they're like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" That from that portion
Yeah.
on, that was just an improvised. That wasn't
Jeez.
right.
Yeah.
R.I.P. the goat.
Yeah. But I could have seen like if they turn this into a trilogy, like Bloodlines into a trilogy of Eric being the character like they go to,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Bloodworth has been in the others, where he doesn't perform like Clear, where he's involved in that way and like expo dumping.
Hmm.
But just being like, don't fuck with death. Like
Yeah.
they could have easily turned it so like the MRI machine.
Hmm.
Like I thought it was gonna take Bobby instead of Eric, and like the wheelchair was like gonna grab him
Yeah.
and like pull him, and then he wasn't gonna
Yeah.
be able to get wheeled out.
Yeah. I
So
That's where my brain was going originally, and then I saw the nipples, or sorry, then I saw the facial piercings getting wheeled
yeah,
out, and at that point I was like, oh, it's that's it for Eric. There's no coming
I
back.
thought they were just gonna. I thought they were just gonna get ripped out. Um, because MRI machine, and they want like you fuck with that, you get your nips ripped.
Yep, that would
Yeah.
yeah, that would totally been good. But then once I saw the Prince Albert, I was like, oh, that's it. There's no coming
Now
back.
I'd like to take a moment and talk about this. Um, I saw some letterbox reviews that were surprised at several things. The nip piercings and the Prince Albert. You all are weak and will not survive the winter. If ever there was to be a man who had everything pierced, that was the man.
Yep, yeah.
Um, I don't respect your game. I don't think you have it. It, it it disheartens me to know that the people of today uh, can't recognize real. I read a Fangoria article
Mhm.
about the practical effects in this, and they were talking about Eric and how all of his piercings were put on every single day,
Oh.
because none of them were real piercings,
Hmm.
and how they were trying different mechanics and stuff to make those scenes work. Because obviously they used a little bit of CG
Yeah.
when doing the rip out effects.
Yeah.
But when they did the dangle
Hmm.
from the in the tattoo parlor from the septum, that was an additional like nose that they added on and that hooked through and that he was dangling from.
Oh shit.
So
Fucking dope.
that's crazy.
That's amazing.
And then it was practical. The stomach bursting in the MRI was practical,
Hmm.
where they made another torso with the tattoos and had it break through the fake torso.
I was going to mention that. So did you notice that that was kind of like a homage to one of the Final Destination posters? I'm pretty sure it's five. I know. I do. I'm pretty sure it's five. Yep.
Oh, yeah, it totally is.
Yep.
I didn't put that together. For our listeners, um, Final Destination 5 has a poster where the skull is getting broken through with a bunch of pipes.
Yep. And if you remember the scene, which I'm sure we all do, I think that was
Mhm.
probably the most elaborate death out of the entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's exactly what happens to Eric's character. So I thought that was a crazy awesome homage, honestly. I really, I like the grandmother. Um,
Yeah, she was fun.
yeah, I felt like she was a continuation of what if Alex still existed in the series. I think that's exactly what he would have been.
Agreed.
Yeah, 100%.
Same thing with Clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just a fucking gratchety, not even a gratch, just a paranoid, on the edge person all the damn time. I liked how she just accepted that she was gonna die as soon as she left.
Hmm.
Although, in hindsight, if she hadn't have left,
Yeah.
everybody would have been fine.
That is true.
Well, would have been fine until
For a couple
for
months.
a few more
Yeah.
months. So, but I liked how that was probably one of the more that actually did make me like legitimately laugh out loud. Just stand back. What?
Yeah.
So, um, no, I this film was the most enjoyable time that I've had watching all of them. Now that could
Hmm.
just be because the other ones are so dated, or because it feels like the previous films were still testing out different things or feeling out concepts or didn't really know what the audience wanted. I think this one had enough separation to kind of be like people like elaborate deaths, people like a little bit of comedy. Let's combine the two. Like when the fucking Julia, I think it was her name, when she fell into that fucking
Yeah.
like trash dispenser, that shit had me fucking rolling.
It was really funny.
What did you think of the premonition scene?
It was great. Yeah. I thought that it was interesting the way they did premonitions and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
With the fact that like the opening scene, I couldn't tell when the disaster was going to happen.
Ah.
I I knew it was going to collapse,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know. I kept waiting because you know the formula of the movie. You're like, okay, a premonition is going to happen at some point. You couldn't really tell when the disaster was going to start.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could have been when they were going up in the elevator. It could have been when they were walking by and there was the fire. It could have been when they were out there and the kid was playing with the coin, which it was. But there were just so many different options. And the fact that they even didn't fully escape, she pulled them off the dance floor and then it broke.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even prevent it fully. That's so fascinating to me. And I think it was just such an interesting way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then to keep on with the premonitions and the fact that Steph can do like the mental math of finding out when these are going to be, or the fact that um the grandma whose name I forgot,
Mm-hmm.
that she started journaling and tracking how all these things could happen. It was a great way to show how the premonitions can work and how it can be at any time. I feel like it really exploited the fact that you're expecting it and looking for these deaths and kept surprising you anyway.
Yeah. Do you think that with this film being introduced, that it makes everything canonical now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So so the grandmother kind of knew that all of these. So in a weird way, you could kind of say that all the previous films were aspects of or spawned from that original 1950s premonition, and Death
Yeah.
was just we're just watching Death clean up his original design.
Hmm. I also think it's funny if they weren't tied to that original premonition at all, and it's like Death doing like a side quest.
It's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck these kids. I'm taking this plane
Yeah,
down.
exactly.
That's a Sunday. I don't got to ship the deal. Let's
Yeah, because
go.
everyone on that plane couldn't have been related.
But
Yeah.
that's very true too. Uh,
Um, but yeah, I think that it does make it all canon, specifically because of Worth. That's what really
mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay,
That ties everything together
yeah.
pretty solidly. Do you have anything that you're mixed about when it comes to this film in particular, or is everything?
I think that it's really strong throughout most of it, and it doesn't stick the landing fully.
Yeah.
That's the main
So
thing.
I from everything that I've got from listening to like all the movie reviews and stuff, that is a general complaint for a lot of the films, is that the third acts are very, very weak. Like
Hmm.
you get to a point where once you have like two to three survivors, everybody kind of just starts popping, dropping really quickly.
Yeah.
Like you get like that one, like that last really big set piece, and then the rest of it's kind of just like, all right, let's just knock out the rest of these bodies, and that's all that really ends up happening, which is a little upsetting, but I get it. You know,
Yeah.
there's
I think there were things that they could have done differently.
mm-hmm.
And it kind of fucked with its own logic a little
Hmm.
because skipping ahead throughout the third act, when Steph is drowning and Charlie saves her and like resuscitates her, which we then find out he didn't actually, she was so relieved. But Charlie never faced death. Charlie didn't live through it, so it would skip
Mm-hmm.
because they know that skipping is a concept, no?
Yeah. So based off of what I understand from two, yes and no. Like, so I
So
feel
I guess they thought if you thwart death
it
once,
completely blinks off the rest of it. Anybody
yeah,
who's below you or after that, you immediately just comes off of the list,
yeah.
which I don't know how true that is.
It's not because that's in five, the guy kills the other guy,
Mhm.
gets his years, death skips.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're, yeah, I don't, so then I don't know. I
So
don't.
I was really confused. I'm like, why are you chill? Like you have to go get this motherfucker out of here now. And I was fully expecting that when he was going to pick up his girl to go to whatever dance it was,
Mhm.
that he was gonna die.
I would have been, I think I probably would have liked that just a little bit better and still make
Yeah.
stuff like the Soul Survivor. I think that would have been pretty cool too.
Hmm.
I'm happy for how they did it. My okay, so I will say I do have one.
They became squishy.
Yep, yep. Now, granted, I understand that those were logs that were flying at a high velocity. Still would love to see some bone. Second thing though, what made it really unbelievable for me, that fucking penny.
Yeah.
I like I I have to ignore it because it's a film,
I thought
but
it was kind of funny. I was like, oh, it's coming back. Like, flip of a coin.
he is actually that personified. But I just I don't know, like when I saw they like hold the like the railings off, I was just like, that's how this is gonna happen? Really? Okay. I guess I'll take it. It just seemed like a giant, elaborate way to kill two people off. But I am glad that they didn't do like a generic like getting hit by a bus bullshit or something stupid like
Yeah, I was also surprised that they didn't make it a premonition
that. Yeah.
because they just full ended it. So I'm like, oh, guess that's done.
Yep, that's it. Well, I would say that they did end it abruptly enough where if they wanted to make it a premonition, they could easily do that.
But it would be bad.
But it would be bad because based off of the logic that the film has given us, right? Those are the last two. So there really wouldn't
Hmm.
be like, well, besides um Bloodworth, those would be the last three. But so there really wouldn't be another film to really expand off of. You'd just be watching those two run around trying
Yeah.
not to die. Which at that point you could just pull it clear and just
Hmm.
white box. Which I
Yep.
mean, if you bring any of this up to normal people, they will say you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where they go from here.
I
I really don't.
I hope that it is a one shot and they just leave it at that. Or hear me out, just completely different scenario, completely different people, just away from all of that. I think that's probably the only other way to really do it. But at that
Yeah.
point, you're kind of just repeating all the other films.
Hmm. And then we get into the same problems
Right?
again.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to kind of just be a one shot, one and done, nothing else, moving on, and then just be and that'd be the end of it. I think that's probably the best way for them to handle the series at this point. Um, yeah, yeah, that's all I got. Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to give it a rating
Sure. What would your rating be out of four?
out of four?
Out of five? You know? Yeah,
Yeah.
out of four. Change it. Change our system now.
Shit. No, it would be a
I
four.
saw the I saw the average on Letterboxd.
No, it would be a four. For me, honestly, it would be a
Yeah,
four.
it would be a four for me as well.
Yeah,
Perfect film, I guess.
yeah,
On my scale.
yeah. I think it did a lot of things strong. I think there are a couple of things that were a little like, but overall, the bad doesn't outweigh the good enough for me to bring it any lower. I had a great time with the film. I probably will end up purchasing that one. If not any of the others, hell, I might buy it, the collector's edition if they ever release it,
Yeah.
just to have all of them. But Bloodlines would definitely be one of the few films that I do buy this year whenever it does release.
Respectable.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, good movie. I
good book.
liked it.
Do you before we close out, do you have like any like deaths that really stuck out of the entire series that you enjoyed more than anything else? Or is there anything like that?
I really liked the tattoo parlor scene.
That
Um, that was just really fun for me. That's
was.
fresh in my mind. I keep thinking about that one.
Hmm.
Um, it was really delightful. It was really funny. They had so many good fake outs, and then none of them ended up being fake outs in the way that they all sort of worked together,
Yeah.
and then it just wasn't even a death.
Yeah.
That was That was good.
It's pretty solid. That was it. I think they did a good job using that as their set piece collection thing.
Yeah.
I think it harnessed everything that makes Final Destination. Um, yeah, pretty much the same. MRI seems probably the best for me.
Yeah.
Even because it was like a twofer. I
Hmm.
thought that was pretty good because I wasn't expecting the fucking the spring to
Yeah.
come out of nowhere and just fucking like one shot Bobby. So I thought that was really good. As a
Yeah.
series as a whole, like I said, I think for me that nail gun one, that one still sticks
Yeah.
out to me probably the best. Um, favorite premonition.
That's a tough one. Um, Honestly, they're all pretty good. I'm kind of leaning towards three
Mm,
because that one is just so visceral.
yeah.
Because she's acting her ass
So
off there. Like you're genuinely scared. And I feel like it's also the most plausible, not in which what happens, but the fact that like I could see like being on a roller coaster, being in line for a roller coaster,
mm,
and you see someone who it just gets scared
yeah.
and leaves. And that one has like this really gut-wrenching moment where her boyfriend is still on the coaster, but everyone's like ride or whatever, and they're chanting
Mm,
like we want to go.
hmm
And the boyfriend's like, let me off. That's my girlfriend. I want to go be with her. And then she's standing to the side as security escorts her out and watches him die.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause she knows what's about to happen, and
Yeah.
there's no really getting away from that. No, yeah, that's a pretty solid.
Yeah.
For me, I still think it's two. I think two still like does a lot for me.
Yeah, two does like psychic damage and changes how you drive.
Yeah. So, and I would say it's gonna be really hard for them to top that on any level moving forward if they ever decide to continue to make films, or at least this concept. You have a least favorite.
It's four.
It's always four.
Yeah, it's that's stupid. Everyone's squishy. That wouldn't happen. It's just so far out of my suspension of disbelief.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Okay, well then,
Is that yours as well?
yeah, no, but
I just want to make sure,
of
just for
course,
posterity.
no, I respect that. Nah, yeah, that's the last that yeah, yeah, completely unbelievable. All
Yeah.
right,
All right.
look, I think
Well, that's been Final Destination.
that's been Final Destination. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be making another one of these at some point in the near future. Have a nice day.
You too.